You're right. Social media democratized pain. It has also democratized freedom of speech. So may cons and pros siya.
Yeah.
Pero kung ang nangingibabaw na yung maingay sa social media are those disinfluencers, I call them. Bakit wala tayong journalist dun? We have the training on how to fact check. We have the access to the information. Bakit wala tayo dun sa space kung nasaan sila?
When content creation first rose to prominence during the pandemic, a lot of us didn't take it seriously. But today, it's a lucrative profession that offers financial security and social capital, which raises the question, when all you need to be an expert is a camera, an internet connection, and a dream, how do we become more responsible producers and consumers, especially in the era of fake news? Here to answer this question with me, Philstar Life columnist Angel Martinez and Puma Podcast editor-at-large J. Mark Tordesillas is multimedia journalist Jackie Manabat. Welcome to Generations.
Hey Jackie, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me here.
Yes, usually we start by asking our guest kung anong generation sila. We were looking at your bio kanina, sabi sa bio mo, you retired from ABS-CBN after 17 years. So, mga 13 years old ka lang nung nagsimula ka mag-ABS-CBN.
12. You could call me like an elder millennial.
So, what were your cultural touchstones? Paano ka naka-identify sa generation na yun as an elder millennial?
Siguro kami yung lumaki na discovering the internet. Yeah. Spice Girls. So, ano ba yung mga generation namin? Kami siguro yung one of the last generation na naglaro sa labas.
So you were trained in traditional media and you witnessed the emergence of digital journalism, right? Were you able to foresee the shift na parang everyone would suddenly have a say in what was going on in like public discourse, na parang everyone would be able to weigh in and kind of create the news instead of just like watching it?
Not actually. Siguro yung discovery ko of the digital media or the digital discourse was Multiply. Siguro isa yung sa touchstone ko as a millennial na sa Multiply ba yung nangihingi ka ng testimonial? Friendster. Ayan, Friendster, Multiply. Sabi ko, hindi naman celebrities tong mga to, but they were able to express themselves. Meron silang page, meron silang identity online. So that's my first exposure of a digital persona. Kung nakita ko ba yung shift to digital, I think I did. Because hindi pa uso nun sa news, but I started posting what I think of the news story, and then ang magko-comment lang yung friends mo, kasi yun pa lang naman yung algorithm ng Friendster nun. And then mas nakakakuha ko ng another perspective of my story through the comments whenever I post my videos, my photos pa that time. Oo. Tapos, I also explored live stream. Yan, na Facebook live stream. Isa ako sa unang gumamit. Tapos nakita ko yung engagement. Iba yung thrill na nakikita mo live yung feedback ng nanonood sa'yo if I compare it to the traditional media that I did back then. For news na yung feedback, hindi ko alam, ano kaya yung feedback nila doon sa storya ko? Tama ba yung ginawa kong angulo? May na-miss ba ako na perspective? Kasi kapag matagal ka ng reporter, di ba, masasanay ka doon sa beat na yun yung danger. Pag masyado ka na nasanay doon sa topic na yun, minsan may mga perspectives ka nang di nakikita. So, I kind of did see that shift back then, pero hindi pa buo sa isip ko what is happening and what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I remember seeing on your social media pages, you would refer to your work as parang TikToking the news before it was cool. I remember you said that.
Yeah, so how did that happen? Medyo anathema yun. You're an elder millennial. Sabi mo tapos TV reporter ka pa. Hindi naman natural sa atin mag-TikTok. How did you end up on that platform, and how did you become the first verified journalist in the Philippines ng TikTok?
Tingin ko kasi may perception ng mga tao na pag reporter ka o journalist ka, napakaseryosong tao. Pero sa totoo lang, bungis-ngis. Alam mo to, J-Fart. Bungis-ngis akong tao, and I think I'm fun. I'm a fun person.
I would say.
I'm a fun person na hindi ko pwedeng ilabas o express because I'm a I'm a personality. I'm a news personality. So how did I jump into TikTok? Naka-quarantine ako that time. And I was looking through my Facebook feed. Tapos sabi ko, nakakatuwa. Magawa silang dalgo na coffee. They talk about how to take care of their plants. They share recipes, fitness regimen, dance or something. Sobra ako na-entertain. Pero ang mas nakita ko is people are trying to cope with anxiety, with loneliness, with separation during the pandemic. And they were looking into these influencers. Ako rin, market nila ako. So sabi ko, kung nagagawa to ng mga influencers, they're getting the attention of those who are on social media. Bakit hindi siya magawa ng mga journalists? And they're fun. And it's hard to think that anong panahon na yun. Kala mo napakatagal na.
5 years.
5 years na rin.
5 years ago, na that serious reporter would do something fun to make stories, to create stories. Seryoso siyang news eh. So, it was a gamble. Sa totoo lang. Hindi ko alam kung ano yung magiging kung ano magiging tingin ng management sa akin. Kasi syempre, nasa loob pa ako ng broadcasting industry. Even tingin ng industry sa ginagawa ko. But when I started doing that, people on the ground started to recognize me as the person on TikTok, as the news person on TikTok. And then, nababasa ko yung engagement. Sige, panoorin ko to mamaya sa TV Patrol. That's the news platform I used to serve. Panoorin ko to sa TV Patrol. So, there's a conversation there. And there's an opportunity to turn these serious news stories into an engaging, digestible content. So, that's how I discovered TikTok and started cross-posting it on other social media platforms.
So there really was like this boom of content creators during that time, during the pandemic, as you mentioned. And I think like one of the positive parts of that is kind of like nagkaroon ng diversity and like voices and perspectives as opposed to like, for example, the same people and then sa broadcast media, like kind of telling us the news. So could you talk more about like how you perceived parang this democratization of influence that happened when content creators started sharing during the pandemic?
You're right. Social media democratized pain. It has also democratized freedom of speech. So may cons and pros siya.
Yeah.
Pero kung ang nangingibabaw na yung maingay sa social media are these influencers, I call them. Bakit wala tayong journalists dun? We have the training on how to fact check. We have the access to the information. Bakit wala tayo dun sa space kung nasaan sila? So, ayun. Kahit sabihin natin, medyo tricky world siya. Bagong-bago siyang mundo for journalists. I jumped in and let's see what's gonna happen.
We mentioned kanina, you retired already from ABS-CBN. I was browsing through a social media post that mentioned Jack, parang German foundation. Yeah? And the post called her a superstar.
Yes.
She's a social media superstar. I'm wondering, why is it important for you to still be a journalist kung pwedeng content creator ka na lang?
Nice.
Pwedeng influencer ka na lang.
And then it's part of the transition that I'm doing right now. Kasi ang base ng ng supporters ko are those nung journalist ako ng ABS-CBN. And current lang naman yung content creator. So right now, I'm merging both journalist and content creator dahil hindi pa sanay yung mga tao na may journalist na content creator at pwede silang maging isa lang. So yun, part siya ng pagiging content creator ko.
Is that a tough adjustment? Kasi
It is.
recent developments. Wag na natin pangalanan, but some people in media have been criticized for using their platforms to share stories of the rich and famous and the involved in controversy. How do you navigate that as an independent journalist and content creator now that lahat naman tayo kailangan na sponsor, kailangan tumita ng pera, and you're not part of any network anymore, so you can do whatever you want. How do you navigate that?
Well, that's why I'm not yet dropping the journalism persona. Kasi when you say journalist, mataas pa rin yung tingin sa atin eh. Na meron pa rin tayong credibility, meron tayong training to fact check and access to information and to simplify yung mga complex issues for the audience. How do I navigate that? I go back to my ethics and my principles. Lagi. Whenever I do content, yes, I do content for brands, for NGOs, ganyan. Whenever I do that, iniisip ko kung pang short term ba to o long term. kung makakaapekto siya doon sa long-term goal ko, hindi ko gagawin kahit malaki yung ibibigay na benefit. Alam niyo na yon kung ano yon, yung pera. So, I go back to my principles, I go back to my ethics. Kahit maliit lang yung magiging bayad ng brands na to, mas okay ako doon. Kasi mas makakasira dun sa pangalan ko as a journalist and as a content creator. Kasi responsable tayo dun sa buhay ng mga nakakapanood sa atin, nakakapakinig sa atin, and that's why they're supporting me. Because they believe in me, tapos I'm gonna break that trust just because of one deal that would break my career.
I know a couple of people who would benefit from having the same stances that you have, but anyway, let's go to another topic.
Okay.
So I did some research for the column, and I found that a lot of young people today no longer have trust in traditional media institutions. They really want to look to people who look like them, who speak like them, to kind of like explain the forces that shape the world around them. Is that something that also informs your work? Like, do you set out to be relatable to your audience? Like, how do you kind of establish that closeness to the people who watch you?
And to that point, parang may nasabi ka before about not using the TV voice when you're doing TikTok.
Malaking shift siya for me, an adjustment for me. Whenever I talk to the people supporting me on social media, nagbabago yung tone ko. So I'm doing traditional, I'm doing social media. So on traditional, you could see me as the template reporter na serious demeanor. Ganito lang po magsalita. Pero this is me. So whenever I go to social media, I show them who I am. Na authentic. Na tao rin po ako. Na I could be fun. Na I understand what you're going through, and I'm also going through that. One example is I share with them my story of being a road safety advocate. My women empowerment stories. Ito yung mga stories na makaka-relate yung mga nagsusupport sa akin na hindi ko magagawa if I'm gonna deliver that in a news tone. So, importante rin yung adjustment na yun for me. Kasi hindi ako sanay. It's 17 years in the media. So, it was really a huge adjustment. Ang balikan ko lang yung tanong kanina, naalala ko lang, yung loss of trust. Hindi naman sa no trust. Tingin ko may nagtitiwala pa rin sa media. It's just that the audience are looking for genuine people na mas makaka-relate sila and would talk to them like a friend. Kasi naghahanap tayo ngayon ng pagkakatiwalaan. Who do we trust? Our friends muna. Diba? Sa totoo. Kasi they go through the same struggles. Hindi naman dahil ka-generation ko kayo. I know you're from a younger generation. Yeah. But I want them to feel that I could be your friend. Na I know how to gather this information and I can deliver to you as a friend.
Yeah, kasi parang as journalist, parang medyo nasa pedestal eh.
Yeah.
Right? Parang, sometimes nga, parang I feel like also when I write my columns, parang why do I feel like I'm talking down rather than like representing members of my generation, like our concerns? So parang there really is kind of a deliberate step to be like, parang closer to your audience instead of like, just parang telling them what to do. Right?
Yeah, oo. And yun yung feels? What?
Vibes.
So, vibes. Yun yung vibes ng young generation whenever I talk to them. They feel like the news isn't for them. It's not written for them. Even the tone, the way it's delivered. So why would they be, read or watch this news? Kaya yung sinasabi mo na yung parang makarelate sila. Yeah. That's why I've been creating more content about road safety.
Napansin ko the past few months you've been doing a lot of content on road safety. Obviously, wala ka ng editor. It's your personal choice. Alam ko may hugot ka about that na personal. Can you tell our viewers and listeners about that backstory?
Yeah. Kasi it's easier for me to tell stories that I've encountered, that I've experienced, and it makes it more genuine eh. So I'm a road crash survivor. So when I was 13, nabangga ako ng speeding jeep. Tapos, may nag-break yung bones ko, ganyan. Tapos natusok yung rib ko ng lungs ko. As in, near-death experience na totoo pala yung, hindi ko alam may scientific explanation to. Totoo pala yung out-of-body experience. So I saw the young me na parang, anong gagawin mo pag namatay ka na? As in, paulit-ulit yun. So I went around the house, ganyan. Tapos bumalik Tapos nakita ko na yung sarili ko sobrang duguan, ganyan. Tapos people were screaming, were shouting, hindi ko na alam kung ano nangyayari. I know that I was already dying. May ganun pala yung feeling. So, dinala ako sa hospital and kailangan ng ambulansya for a better access to a better hospital. Tapos ramdam na ramdam ko yung bawat lubak. Kasi very fragile na ako noon dahil nabangga ako, ang dami kong fractures. Pagdating ko ng hospital, wala pang available na doktor. So, parang yung experience ko na yun, tumatak sa akin. Siguro yun yung life-changing for me. Na
So after you were hospitalized, hindi ka makalakad?
hindi ako makalakad. Doctor said, I'm never gonna walk again. Yeah, never gonna walk again. So, dahil mahal ang therapist, we couldn't afford one. Ako na yung nagsarili. I don't like photos of me in wheelchair. Alam ko yung pakiramdam na wini-wheel yung sarili ko sa restaurant tapos pinagtitinginan ka. Pag-aakyat ako sa school nun kasi gusto ko pang mag-aral eh. We're not that, mayaman. So, kailangan ko mag-aral para makapag-trabaho. Yun yung thinking, di ba? Millennial. So naka-crutches ako 4 flights of stairs. Yan.
High school to?
High school. Tapos papanoorin ko na lang yung classmates ko habang nagre-recess. Kasi 30 minutes lang yung recess. Kung sasama ako, I will require assistance. So, tinitignan ko na lang yung crush ko. Tapos the next day, may girlfriend na siya naglalakad. So, imagine a teenager's life like that. Wala na ako ng social life. I was robbed of those years. But, I turned it into an advocacy of mine. Pero hanggang ngayon, I still carry the trauma of crossing the street, ganyan, of riding the public transportation. I do take the public transportation. Pero lagi ako may takot. Yeah. So, nung nakalakad na ako, I started running. Yeah. Running na ako. Kaya, tingin ko with the training that I had when I was a journalist, I could turn that into a content that would inspire, also call to action those in power to do something about this. Kasi isipin mo, if we have safer roads, safer even for women, yung walang nagka-catcalling, yung mga ganon, yung mga ditch, we could have a better lifestyle here in the Philippines, healthier lifestyle even. So, hindi lang siya yung para dun sa mga road crash survivors eh. It's for, para makapaningil po tayo sa DPWH. Yung mga proyekto na to, it's for health, it's for lifestyle, it's for the economy. So, yeah, ang dami kong kwento.
I think the camera can pick up like how shocked my expressions were. Kasi prior to shooting this episode, like you were just telling us about how you're literally training for a marathon. So, iba talaga. Yeah. I guess like that's also something na parang important for content creators today. Parang kulang sa humanity, kulang sa ganyang pinaghuhugutan yung mga nakikita kong content most of the time na puro branded. Yeah, minsan ano pa talaga, fueled by disinformation, by fake news. Like, could you talk about, as someone who does this for a living, could you talk about like the machinery that you're up against? Like how challenging it is to really combat like fake news today?
And also just the algorithm. Like how do you surface your content?
Kaya siguro wala akong milyong followers.
Hundreds of thousands lang.
Pero hindi mahirap lumaban sa mga mas maiingay, yung mas may pera, ganyan. Lagi namang ganun eh. Kahit in real life, iba pala yung hugot. Iba pala yung hugot. Paano ako lumalaban? I play the long game na I'm hoping that the younger generation, your generation, would see the content creators who are being the good voice in this noise, in this social media. Na yung kwento ko as a road crash survivor, yung mga kwento ko about politics, about the environment, it's not just for me, but it's for the younger generation as well. So, sana makita na yun ng mga followers and they follow me because they believe in me and I'm playing the long game because I hope na magising sila one day tapos malalaman na nila kung sino ang dapat singilin sa flood control project. De, joke na. Diba? I mean, that's why I'm amazed by the younger generation. Kayo yung woke generation, I don't know kung napag-usapan niyo na ba yun. Kayo yung nag-stand. Yeah. Wag ka na sumali. Kaya yung nagsalita for karapatan ng LGBTQ, for mental health, and the likes na hindi namin pag-usapan nung time namin na mas malakas yung boses namin. That's why siguro, yeah, I have high hopes for this generation.
Jackie, after you left ABS, parang you did a tour ng mga schools, di ba? Na, nagtuturo ka ng journalism. Ang goal mo nun, to teach journalism, pero na-discover mo parang ang mga kids gusto maging content creator and vlogger. So, how did that conversation go? And were you able to adjust to that? Nakita mo yung desire na ito ang pangarap maging TikTok creator at influencer. So, how do you deal with those?
Okay. Kasi gusto ko talaga mag-share ng knowledge ko on how to create and consume content online para mas dumami yung good content creators. Yan yung purpose ko doon. Pero tingin ko nagkaroon ako ng pagkakamali nung una when I was going around public schools. It's an out-of-pocket project for me when I retired. Tinawag ko siyang Journalism 101. But the kids, they don't like it. Yeah. So I was teaching them fact-checking, how to attribute sources, and the such. Ang ginawa ko, content creation hacks. And then they started listening. So nagbago na yung approach on how to teach these students. Focus ko sila because they are the future storytellers eh. So if they don't like journalism, baka there is a way for me at least to teach them the trainings of the journalist, like proper writing. Oo. Huwag niyong iasa lahat po sa ChatGPT. Dapat kayo pa rin yung nagsusulat at the end of the day. Proper attribution, fact-checking, ethics online. So, yon. And na-discover ko rin kung ano yung gusto nila and how they speak their language. So, it's a win-win situation.
That's so interesting na parang journalism pa yung dirty word, that content creation yung mas acceptable na term.
I know, I'm surprised too.
So as someone who predicted the shift to digital early on, I'm also curious about your thoughts on like what other threats you feel like you're up against as a hybrid journalist and content creator. Like what other monsters do we have to be wary of in today's information landscape?
Well, monsters, the disinfluencers. That's why I jumped into social media because they are disinfluencers. And we have to be ready for them palagi kasi they're one step forward lagi eh. They always have may means sila. Meron silang laging ginagawa para, ma-discredit yung media, ma-drown down yung totoong information na kailangan malaman ng tao. So, they're still the monsters. I don't consider it a monster, but I think it's also a challenge. Yung mga AI-generated videos. Yes, it is a challenge. That is why it is important for us to study it. Kasi pag mas kilala natin to, we know how to use it. Mas empowered tayo. How to use it. And we could identify for the audience, is it AI-generated video or not? Diba? So, yun. I think it's more of challenges. Another challenge would be, since we're talking about the digital media here, the much younger generation, they're going to pre-digital era na. So, sila na yung ganong generation. They're into vinyl, they're into books, right?
Analog.
Yeah. Oo. So, meron silang historical nostalgia. So, paano lalaban yung digital media if you're already there? So, babalik na naman tayo. So, yun. I think the changes are the challenges.
Yung positive naman, what have you seen na, okay, I know you've trained content creators in journalism and then journalists in content creation. What do you see as positives in the landscape? Like, may positive ba?
Meron. I think there will be a healthier discourse online. Hindi din dati yung nagbabangayan. Meron pa rin, pero magkakaroon ng healthier discourse. Kasi with the trainings that we give, nag-plug. That we give, na mas dadami, hopefully, mas dadami ng mga content creators and journalists who would know how to use this platform for better stories, for reaching out to the audience.
Anong mas mahirap? Training journalists in content creation or content creators in journalism?
Tricky question, Jim. You put me on the spot. Mas mahirap i-train ng journalists.
Mas matigas ang ulo.
Oo, they don't like to bend siguro the rules because they're already used to it. Well, the content creators, mas open sila sa innovation. Mas open sila sa changes. Maybe that's why they're content creators. On the part of the content creators, ang mahirap naman i-train are those na nakaabot ng millions and millions of followers. Kasi bakit nga ba sila makikinig sa journalist na mas konti yung followers kaysa sa kanila?
So, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with
I
that?
stand my ground. I show them what I do and I tell them na this is an intersection of content creation and journalism. And if you merge it together, we'll have better content for the audience to consume.
Do you have any practical tips for Gen Z audiences naman? Like you mentioned a while ago na it's important for us to be able to distinguish who are the good content creators these days. Like what exactly should we look out for and how do you suggest we do that?
First is support the good content creators and support your local journalists, please. Yes. Yes, support. Kapag may nakita kayong mali, speak up. Yun naman yung ginagawa ng generation niya eh. Speak up and take action and do what you do. Kasi feeling yung beauty ng social media is it allows you to be you. Oo, 'di ba? And human beings are innate good human beings. Aren't they? Oo, mabait naman talaga. Ipakita niyo kung sino kayo. And kayo nga yung generation na nagpasigat nga ng woke generation. So, start speaking up, support your local journalist, and wag niyo nang wag na kayo mag-subscribe please or i-like yung mga basurang content creators. Oo. I think that's a good step din na we get rid of these content creators who are disinfluencers and who are not good for our health. Oh, parang junk food yan eh. Di ba? If we consume junk, edi masama sa health.
So parang disengage na lang din completely kasi madalas nga kami pumapatos sa mga ganyan pag may nakikita kami on social media, but I think that kind of like amplifies pa their reach, diba? So that's your advice na lang to just parang...
Yeah, disengage, deadma, and block. Yeah, and take care of your mental health as well. Mm-hmm.
Pero Jackie, yung Gen Z, ang galing na sa social media at sa internet eh. Pero di ba sinasabi nga nila, dapat may separate na internet yung nasa pagda. Ano yung keep mo para sa matatanda, yung boomers, yung Gen X at saka millennials? What do they not know about the landscape today that you could tell them?
I'd like to ask Angel that. Dapat ba separate ang social media ng mga matatanda?
Ay, nako. As the resident Gen Z here, I feel like may inherent bias talaga ako. So, I don't know. I might end up implicating myself.
Dapat ba magkaroon ng separate Facebook?
But yun nga, what do they need to know about the landscape today and about content creators? Kasi baka sa TV Patrol ka pa nila napanood eh. Ngayon, did they need to follow you on TikTok? Ano ba tong TikTok na to?
Well, it's a different world. So, anong tip ko sa inyo? Understand that iba na yung generation nila. Iba na yung kinalakhan nila. Iba na yung touchstone. So, kung hindi, kaming mga millennials, hindi na namin naiintindihan kung bakit, ano ba yung mga trend, yung mga memes, huwag na kayong mag-comment, okay na yan. It's their own world. Magkakaroon pa ng younger generation that would also question yung mga trends ng Gen Z. So, it's important that we understand that it's a whole new world. It has its own language. And, ayun, just like a parent na hindi natin maintindihan lahat. But maybe what we could do is just listen. Listen to them.
Okay.
Tama ba?
Yeah. Okay, so honestly, that's what I wanted to say. Pero of course, it would end up being biased. So thank you for validating me from like the perspective of another generation.
Well, one last thing. Why is journalism still important in the age of content creators?
Ooh, because we journalists, we do have the trainings on how to, again, ulit-ulitin ko talaga to for the content creators. We do have the trainings for fact-checking, for proper attribution, for the right sourcing of information. We do need journalists dahil sa panahon na binabagyo tayo, sa panahon na tingin natin, ninanakawan na tayo, sa panahon na kailangan natin ng tamang impormasyon, babalik tayo sa mga journalists.
Perfect way to end the podcast. Thank you so much again, Jackie, for taking time out of your very busy schedule to share this with all of us. I am sure our listeners loved it as much as we love chatting with you. So if you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe and follow Philstar Life and Puma Podcast on Spotify and YouTube so you don't miss out on our latest conversations.